If you're young, if you're in middle school, high school, and college, watching actualize.org, man, you've stumbled upon something here that is life transforming for you. This is huge. I hope you realize now that you're being groomed to be a wage slave. That's what school and college is about. And unless you do something special, you take some special measures, you will become a wage slave because that's the default position. That's who you become if you do nothing. If you're one of those average C students who's just kind of like milling through life and just kind of dicking around, playing a bunch of video games and watching TV, taking your schooling for granted, just kind of doing the bare minimum, smoking weed with your friends, just hanging out, partying, drinking a bunch of beer and beer pong and this sort of stuff in college, and this is what you're kind of doing, you're going to end up a wage slave. That's what you're going to be. It's much easier to avoid becoming a wage slave if you start early. If you're in middle school, high school, or college right now, once you're out of college, once you're past the age of 22, now you got to be independent on your own, pay your own bills. Oh, now it's really hard to change this situation. Really hard. Because you didn't prepare. And now you're probably going to be a wage slave for the rest of your life. Even most well-off paid professionals are wage slaves. I'm talking about the lawyers, the doctors, the programmers, the scientists. What are they? They're mostly wage slaves. They don't have true independence. They have to jump through hoops, the hoops of their clients, the hoops of their bosses, their institutions, whoever they work for. They have to show up at a certain time, punch the clock, basically. That's what they got to do. People in society who have true financial freedom, autonomy, and independence, this is extremely rare. I want you to realize how rare it is because I want you to start to appreciate what this is. This is something that you can develop in your life, but you have to appreciate just how rare this is and how valuable this is and what this could really mean. It's only once you start to appreciate that, then you can say, okay, I see. This is like, we're not talking about like going to the store and buying a bag of popcorn for $5. That would be a cheap ticket item. We're talking about like buying $1 million house. That's a big ticket item. You know, you want to buy $1 million house, you got to plan for it, strategize, work towards it. You know, you're not going to just buy it on a whim the way you buy a $5 piece of popcorn bag. All right? People just take all this completely for granted. How does one become a wage slave? You might think, well, it's because of the evil structure of society. No, actually, there's something very simple at the heart of it. Something that actually you can control. Because you don't have much control over the structure of all of society, but you do have control over this stuff. Listen to this. Actually, consider that you become a wage slave because you have no clue what you want in life. You have no clue what you want. You have no sense of purpose. You have no clear intentions, no clear vision. You have no independent thought. You have no desire for anything really other than just to coast through life. And you've wasted your youth. You've wasted your youth playing video games and dicking around when you should have been spending those 15 years of your schooling, that time between first grade and the end of college. You should have been spending all of that time strategically planning, developing skills, the skills you need to avoid wage slavery. You needed to be spending that time honing your sense of purpose, building a vision, thinking independently for yourself, setting your foundation, such that then when you get beyond college, now you're ready to work towards your financial independence and you have some sort of foundation to work with. But the vast majority of people have completely wasted this opportunity, simply because you were oblivious. Your parents didn't tell you about this. Your school teachers, your professors, none of them told you about this. Mostly because all of them have themselves fallen prey to this trap. And this is uncommon knowledge here. So that's the bad news. The good news is that you can escape.
It's time to decide.